Okay, so this week the pavers were installed in the driveway and the back porch. So I'm going to show you the process of how that was done. So I'm going to share my screen with you quickly.
Pavers are what goes on the driveway.
Yeah, so last week we saw the sidewalk was poured with concrete. Now your driveway can also have concrete, just like the sidewalk, but we like to put pavers because it's a little bit prettier and over time it'll stay looking much prettier than if you just had the concrete.
How many people here have pavers in front of their house? Or you can have them actually in your backyard, right, Lori?
Yeah, I'm going to show you. We actually have them on the back porch too. If you guys have a pool in your backyard, a lot of times you'll have pavers around the pool. What it is it's kind of like a brick. It's made out of concrete and it has color in it too. So it comes in different colors and also different shapes and patterns. So we'll show you the pattern and color that was put on this house. So you can see here, this is actually my house. This is my office window where I am right now, so you kind of see how close I am. And the pavers they're very heavy and they come on pallets, so they're delivered on a flatbed truck. I'll show you a little video now. And they have this special, this other special truck which lifts the pavers off of the truck and brings them to the house because they're very heavy. And so I'll show you that now.
Lots of big trucks. And for later.
Now you see what he's going to do is he's actually going to move the pavers to a different part of the truck because the pavers are so heavy. If he took all the pavers from the back of the truck first, the truck might tip over. So he's redistributing the weight of the pavers right now to make sure that when he takes them off that the truck doesn't tip. Then he's going to go ahead and grab another pallet.
He has like these small things that grab on it.
Yeah, it's kind of like a fork that goes into these little slots underneath the pallet that hold the pavers. See, then he brings them over. And he drops them off. You see, it takes a lot of pavers to do the whole driveway. Now, the next thing, after the pavers are dropped off, and I'll show you here, these are all the pavers that were delivered. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pallets, which is a lot. But you see there's a lot of dirt here. Now, if you guys remember, all this dirt came from when they had to dig out the dirt to pour the sidewalk. So they have to go ahead, and now the next step is they have to remove this dirt and they have to grade the dirt so that way it's nice and flat for the pavers, but also they want it to have a little bit of a slope so that way if it rains, the water flows towards the street and not towards the house. But the slope can't be too much because they want to make sure if someone's in a wheelchair or, if you're riding your bike or parking your car that the slope isn't too much. So it's got to be right in the middle. So the next video that I'm going to show you is you're going to see they're going to be moving the dirt and making it nice and flat for the pavers to be installed. So they use another little truck here around. They're starting to get the backyard pretty flat. He's bringing it to the front of the house. He's got a big pile there that is going to get taken away.
you, Lori.
Yeah, he's scraping the dirt to make it nice and flat, and he's making a big pile. So now you see here, this was a smaller truck. This truck is smaller. Now they're going to bring a larger truck. See, this truck is much larger. So this truck then came out so that way it can lift this huge pile of dirt, and it's going to put it into a dumpster that's going to be taking the dirt someplace else where it's needed. Okay, so you're going to see that. See, he's got the dirt all filled up in there. And you see the concrete on the sidewalk is nice and strong now that the truck can drive over it. And he's going to put it in the dumpster. He's going to do that a couple times till all the extra dirt is removed. Okay, so before we get to this, so now, after all that dirt is removed, you should have a flat, clean area to lay the pavers. So you can see here, this is kind of before, and then this is what it starts to look like afterwards. See, it's getting much nicer and flatter here. See how you can see here it's nice and flat for the installation. So the next thing that happens after they get it all nice and flat is this is a pile of, it's called concrete fines, and this was dropped off. And what this is recycled concrete that's ground up almost to kind of like a pebble stage. So whenever there's leftover concrete, like when they're pouring the sidewalk or, some other part of whatever needs concrete, they take whatever's left over and they recycle it, and they make these little concrete fines which are used for the pavers. So someone delivered that to the site, and then what they do is they put the concrete fine, and this is what the pavers stick to, they go ahead and they put them where the pavers need to be. So they shovel it in this area over the dirt, okay? So these are little recycled pieces of concrete, and they get it a little bit wet, and then they take this machine here, and I'll show you what this does is this vibrates. It's a big vibrator, and it vibrates all the concrete fines, so it's very compacted, so there's no air pockets or bubbles, and you can get as much in there as possible. So that's what this is doing right now. So that's vibrating the concrete. And after they do that, then they can start putting the pavers down. So you can see here they got the, it's all nice and smooth, they got the concrete fines nice and vibrated. So then they start bringing the pavers over in little stacks, okay? Now this particular paver style comes in 3 different sizes. So they have to figure out, first of all, they have to figure out the area of this driveway to see how many pavers are needed. Then, after they figure out the area, they have to figure out the pattern. So they make the pattern and they divide the pavers into the 3 different sizes, and then they lay it out accordingly. They also have a string that runs on either side to make sure that it stays nice and even and straight. So you can see here it's picking up the particular size that goes next in the pattern. And then they kind of hammer it down. You can see here, you see this is a longer paver, this is a shorter paver, this is an even, there's 3 different sizes of pavers, and they have to fit together in a pattern. Then, after all the pavers are laid down, the next thing is, because there's little, there's little cracks in between each of the paver for where there's air. They take sand, so they have sand delivered to the site, and they sweep sand over the pavers to fill in all those gaps. So you can see he's sweeping the sand over the pavers. And what this does is this makes the pavers so tightly packed together that they won't move. So they're on top of the concrete and they're tightly packed together with the sand. And you can see here's the sand over all the pavers. And then they compact the sand, just like how they compacted the concrete before. They use the same machine to compact the sand over the pavers to make sure that it gets into all the little crevices and it's nice and tight. And then this is what it looks like when it's finished. And it'll look even better once the landscaping is in. But you can see there's pavers here in the front porch, there's a walkway, the driveway, and then here it's covered with sand right now, but you've got the sidewalk. See, here's the string that they use to keep it nice and straight. You can see the different sizes. And then you can see they also did the back porch.
Nice.
So that's what happened this week. Nice pavers. We're getting very close to the end. So you guys have any questions?
We do.
Hi, my name is Jada. How long does the paving process take?
Oh, that's a great question. It took them about a day to do the dirt work, so moving around all the dirt to make it nice and flat and getting the excess dirt into the truck. And then it took about another day to do to actually install the pavers. So it took like 2 to 3 days total.
Anyone here at this table have a question?
Hi, my name is Blake. Do you know where the people who give you the sand get it from?
What was the question about the sand? Where does it come from, or where does it come from? Okay, that's a great question. Well, there are, under the ground, depending on where you are, there's sand, in the dirt. So there are companies, and they find large patches of land that have a lot of sand in them, and they dig out the sand and they sell it. So we find a company that sells the sand that they dig out on their land, and then they come and they deliver it to us.
Great.
What if they don't get enough pavers?
Okay, that's a good question. Yeah, so we calculate the area to make sure we've got, we know the amount. Now, if they don't deliver enough pavers, what will happen is we'll have to order more, and it might take a little bit longer for it to get delivered. Usually what happens is we order too much and we have leftovers, and then we have to figure out what to do with them. So that happens more often.
Do the colors match when you get new pavers?
Oh, well, when we order the pavers, there's a couple colors that we choose from. So if we didn't have enough and we had to order more, we'd order the same color and they would match. But that's a good question. They do come in different colors that you can choose from.
What if the pavers don't fit in the ground where you place them?
They don't fit in the ground. Well, they make sure that the pattern. The pattern can be kind of complicated to figure out. So they have to make sure they have, they measure the width and they measure the length, and they divide that, by the size of the pavers, and they come up with the pattern that will work. And also, another thing that they do is if it doesn't fit perfectly, or if there's like a rounded edge, they have a saw and they'll cut the pavers to make it fit.
Can you show us the house that you're building right now out of your window?
Were you able to do that after yesterday?
Let's go ahead and ask all the questions just in case I get disconnected, and then I'll go ahead and try to show you guys.
Okay, anyone here? Oh, okay. Did she answer that question?
No.
Okay.
What happened with your camera?
Did it break, Lori?
Well, I thought that I could remove the camera from the base and it would still be connected, but apparently I can't. The camera has to be attached to the base. So I took the camera off and it disconnected. That's what happened. So yeah, after I put it back on, it started working again.
Hi, I'm Lauren. Do the owners get to pick if they get pavers or concrete?
They do. They have a choice. They can choose to have pavers just on that walkway from the front porch, and then their driveway can be concrete. They also can choose the driveway to be pavers and also the back porch. So those are 3 different choices that they have for the location. They also can choose in the backyard if they want to extend the pavers to make them larger area. They can do that, and they can also pick the color.
Anyone here have a question? Blake, you still have a question? You don't have to say hi, it's Blake. Say Blake again. Nice and loud.
Why? If you want to show us outside, maybe you can just like turn your computer around, and then maybe you can get the view of it.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to try. I think the wire is long enough where I can do that, so I'm going to try that.
Yeah, they're fascinated about that. That was probably the talk of the. We have one more question about pavers.
Okay.
Here. How much extra dirt is there?
Okay, well that depends. It depends because some of the lots might have, like let's say it might be a little bit hilly, so there might be a lot of dirt that we need to remove to make it nice and flat, whereas other lots might be really low and we might actually need to bring dirt in to fill it. So just depending on the lot and what's already there, we either need to remove the dirt or bring more dirt in because we want your backyard and the front yard to be nice and flat, but also have a slight little slope so that way the water will travel away from your house and not into your house.
Lori, after they deliver the dirt, what happens if it starts to rain, like we get those monsoon rains to the dirt or?
That did happen this week, and you know the dirt gets wet, but it won't like go away. I mean, some of it might like spread out a little bit, but usually where it's located on the lot, it's not a big deal. It just becomes a little bit heavier to move around.
So next week Friday. Probably the next week, it could be sometime Friday, or it would have to be on next Tuesday, which we probably wouldn't do. So I'd have to talk to you about next week, but what would be the next thing that?
Okay, great. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what's going on in the house this coming up week. I know what remains to be done is the landscaping and also the carpet inside the house. Those are 2 major items, so maybe we'll be able to see one of those.
Because we have a week from Wednesday will be our last day. So if this house isn't done, maybe you could kind of look at another, or show us what the finished product would be maybe on another house.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay. Okay, Lori. So we're gonna. Do you have one more question, Abudi? Okay.
How much houses are you working on right now?
Oh, that's a really great question. We are working on a lot. I would say at least 30 houses we've got under construction right now. And we've also got some new communities which we're working on too.
Lori, Lauren, you've been so busy. You've been hiring new people to work for you as well.
Yeah, these past 2 or 3 weeks, we've hired 6 new people, which is really exciting. So we've got some new faces helping us out, which is helping us. We actually, right now, we can't build the houses fast enough. We have more people who want to buy the houses, and we don't have enough time to build the houses for them. So hiring new people is going to help with that, and we continue to be very busy, which is good.
Yeah, I don't know if you know, we were making a health walk, and we went ahead and we had to, and I'm sure some of the people originally, when they're building your house, they have to walk around with a little, it's like a stick that has a wheel on it, and it measures meters.
Yeah.
Maybe the carpet person does that, correct? They walk around with that to measure the area of the room. So we had to walk around the school with this little meter stick that would measure how many meters this lap was, and we're creating a mile walk to stay healthy.
Oh, wow, that's really great. Yeah, they do have that, to measure the areas, but we also have different, we also, in the computer with the floor plan, we could dimension it too, and then in the field, they'll come out and check it to make sure it was built properly. But they also have now, and these are a little bit expensive, so not everyone has these, but they have lasers, and you could take the laser and you can shoot it, and it'll hit a wall, and it could tell you exactly what the distance is or calculate different stuff with the laser, which is very cool.
That is really cool. Wow. See how things evolve? Okay, Lori.
All right, so let me see if I can bring you, show you my window here. So bear with me.
More quiet, so let's. Oh, she got it. Okay, so is that? Oh, there's the house.
It's kind of blurry.
Do you see it? It's kind of blurry because there's a net over there's a screen over my window.
I gotcha.
You see it? It's the one on the left. There's like a white track in front of it.
Yep, and they're still working.
Yes.
So you're close to the site.
Yes, very close. All right.
Very successful. She did that very well. All right, Lori, we'll speak to you.
All right. Have a good weekend, everyone.